Cammus has doubled down, actually almost doubled down, with their new C12, taking basically the C5 to a whole other level. And I gotta tell you, doing a pretty good job of it. So we're gonna be reviewing this in this video, and there is a whole lot of stuff to cover. And I gotta be honest with you, one of it is really good. So stick around. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. And like I said, we're going to be taking a look at Cammus's new C12. Now, the C12 builds on their direct drive technology that they came out with the C5. So if you remember the C5, where they've got the wheel attached directly to the direct drive motor. This is a different path than what pretty much every other direct drive manufacturer has done out there, where you've got the direct drive motor, you've got the shaft that comes out, and then the wheel hooks to the shaft. The shaft is directly to the motor. Now, obviously, there are other options when we talk about belt drive or cog drive, and those would be like the T300, T500, the G29, those types of wheels. But in terms of direct drives, this is really, really unique. Now, I've actually used and tested the C5. I got the C5 right after I got the C12, and I wanted to compare it to this and get a feel for that first and then test this one. I do have a review of the C5 that will be going up here in the next day or two, so stick around for that as well. But the C12 basically improves on the C5 in a massive level, and not only that, it improves upon their previous direct drives, especially the DDWB21, which is their 15 Newton meter direct drive. And that's the one that I did my first Cammus review of about a year ago now. So full disclosure on this, Cammus reached out to me, like I said, the first time more than a year ago, asked me if I'd be interested in the DDWB21. And initial conversations were more, I want to say they were looking for more like promotion, right? Like, hey, we can give you a wheel, you can promote, if we do that, we don't want just an unboxing video, we want you to promote it, things like that. And I told them, as I tell basically anybody who wants me to look at anything, if I'm going to promote something, I have to use it. I have to like it, okay? When I did that review of the DDWB21, you remember I talked about the fact that there was a problem with the motherboard and I had to fix it. Now, since then, I've had zero issues with it. It's been great. In fact, it's my daily driver. So when they reached out to me about the C12 and the C5, it was the same thing. Yeah, I will take a look at them. If I like them, I will gladly promote them if I like them. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've got zero problem promoting this. This thing has been great. I have been testing it over the last few days. I ran it through the paces on iRacing and ACC. You guys know I predominantly do iRacing, but I do test wheels and pedals and stuff on ACC because I do know that that is popular out there. So although I don't like that sim, I do use it to test. And this thing was really, really impressive. Now, I'm going to show you guys a bunch of improvements that they've made with the software, which is really, really cool because they've got some really nice features on it. Before we do that, I want to show you guys some of the stuff here that they've improved on the wheel itself. So first of all, as you can see here, we've got a bunch of buttons, all right? We've got some rotary switches here. These are very, very nice. If we compare these to what is on their GT wheel that came with the DDWB, these are much nicer. They got a much better click to them. They're much firmer, and everything on here is, you got metal. It's really, really nice. You've got these dials up here. You've got more rotaries here. Once again, they're nice and stiff. They feel good. They're not chintzy. They have a good click to them. And all of this is customizable. You have shifters back here that are adjustable, magnetic. They have a nice click to them, which is really, really nice. And the rim is obviously bigger than the C5. Now, like I said, I'll cover the C5 in a review here in another day or two. I've actually already done the review. I just am editing it right now, and I wanted to get this up because Cammus just announced this. This is really, really good. There's not much negative that I have to say about it. The force feedback was very, very nice. It's snappy, it's quick, it's got a lot of adjustability to it. It feels very, very good. One of the things that I found with the C5, and I'll talk about this in the video, was with the C5, there was a little bit of, I don't know what you would call it. Maybe it was almost kind of like a grainy feeling to it. It was very, very slight. It wasn't anything that hindered your driving experience, but you could feel it. I was worried about that with this, being that this is the same type of technology, and I don't have that. I did not get that at all. So whether it's because it's got more force to it, whether they've cleaned something up, improved something, don't know, but it feels really, really good. The rim is obviously much bigger, and also what's nice is that this rim, you can take this off and put another rim on if you wanted to. Now, one thing I will also say is that this button pad below the rim, and we'll get in here to the software in a second, the software recognizes the rim and the button pad separate from the actual base. So I think that there's a possibility we could actually see in the future, potentially, the ability to actually change these out, which is really, really cool. Because I got to tell you, if I could take this button pad off with this rim and put it on my DDW B21, I would be super happy because this rim feels great. There's no, I mean, I shouldn't say no, but the amount of flex is very, very little. It's nice and sturdy. It's not the leather that you got with the GT wheel, but it's a very nice, I would say maybe a faux leather. Hand stitched, really, really good quality. And for the price point, I got to tell you, it's not bad. Comes with this mount here on the back. This will go into the table clamp that is used for the C5, but you could also mount this directly to your rig. I believe this bolt pattern, I want to say it matches the Fanatec CSL bolt pattern. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know it matches one of the more common brands bolt patterns because on my rig, this lines up with it, and mine had some pre-drilled holes for, Fanatec, Logitech, Thrustmaster, those types of brands. So they'll line up with that. So if you have a rig and a mounting plate, you can just use this and bolt it directly to it, or you can use the clamp, but you have to get the clamp separately, which is $29. Although the C5 will work on a desk, this on a desk I think might be a little too much depending on your desk. The clamp can actually handle it. The clamp doesn't have any issues handling the 12 Newton meters of force. Where I saw issue was with the flexing of the desk. Like with the C5, you get a little bit of flexing in the desk. Basically as long as you're not using like a cheap, $30 like Walmart, particle board desk, you're going to be fine with the desk clamp. You're going to need a pretty sturdy desk just because of the force that this wheel has. Okay. So that's kind of my initial thoughts on it. Let's head over. We'll take a look at the software, and then I'll actually hop in the sim and show you guys a couple of really cool things that they've done with this wheel and with the force feedback settings. Because one of the things was something that I was kind of saying would make their force feedback better when I reviewed the DDW B21, and they've definitely improved on the software and the firmware. So let's head over and take a look at that. So I've got the C12 here on my rig. It is mounted to my actual rig. I don't have it on the desk right now. But regardless, we've got it hooked up here. We're going to switch over here. I want to show you guys the software that they've updated and changed, and then also a couple of new features that they've got with the software that make this thing feel really, really cool, I guess would be the best way to describe it. It's just a really, really unique setting that they have now, and it's something that I've been playing around a lot with and have found to be just really, really interesting. So let's head over, let's take a look. All right, so here on the software, first of all, I mentioned this before, but you can see here with it plugged in, it recognizes the base and the steering wheel. So this does, I don't know for sure, the people I talked to at Cammus, they have not told me that this will be something that can be done, but it does make me wonder, or at least believe, that we will see the potential for upgrades in the future where you will be able to actually remove not just the rim. You can change the rim right now, but the actual wheel, because if you have like a formula wheel or something like that, you're going to need the button pad to come off as well. So it does make me think that that will be possible. I have not, like I mentioned before, tried taking this apart, but maybe one day in the future I'll take a look at that. But anyways, so you can see you got the base, got the steering wheel. When we come over here to parameters, they got the same stuff that they had before in terms of being able to save profiles. Now you will see here that all of my profiles I've got, none of them can be used. And that's because the settings on this wheel are very different than the settings I have on my DDWB. So on my DDWB, I've got these base settings: power, natural dampening, natural friction, natural inertia, and idle spring. The only setting that's missing is game effects intensity. Now that they actually have moved over to another tab called game effects. Here we have effects intensity, and then we've also got these four, which are new to the software: CF filter, Q factor, game friction, and game spring. Now, game friction and game spring probably sound similar to natural friction and idle spring. And basically, they are. So you want to think about the natural friction and idle spring as like analog settings. Okay, settings that are like the wheel, like think of it as mechanical, where in the game effects, the game friction and game spring are those effects, but controlled by the game software itself. Okay, so they're similar, but different in terms of how they react. Now, on the devices side here, you can see we've got the wheel. We can set our centering position. We've got our different wheel angles that we can use. You can also see over here the designated steering wheel we have unspecified, or we can click on our wheel that we have. With all the buttons we have on this wheel, you can actually see down here, you can essentially control everything with just this wheel. You've got here on the bottom left that I showed you guys earlier. You can see it right here. You've actually got a joystick with a XY axis. So you could actually simulate a mouse. You could also simulate a keyboard with the other joystick right here, where you have up, down, left, right. Then you've got all of these buttons here. You've got the dials up here as well, okay? And when you click on dashboard, you can customize all of this stuff. So we can change our LED screen here. We can change that to speed in kilometers an hour, speed in miles per hour, which is what I have it on since I live here in America, and then gear. You can also change the brightness. You can change the light up front here. You can have it as their RPM lights. You can change it to different preset colors, okay? You can also, if you want, click on each individual light and change it by each individual color if you want to. So you can really design this any way you want. That's one of those little things that in the grand scheme is not that big of a deal, but most of the time you're not going to get that on a $549 setup, right? Normally, to get that kind of a customization just on the wheel, you're going to spend a few $100s. That doesn't include the base. That's just the wheel. So it's a really, really nice touch. You can also change the colors of the buttons, where you have different presets that you can use for that, where they're actually pre-lit, okay, at all times. It's not just lit when you press it. They stay lit up. Or you could do it individually, once again, you could change each button's color if you'd like to do that, okay? Finally, our top knobs here. Remember these knobs that are up here. If you look right here, you can change those to be directional, so basically like rotaries, or you could actually have them be a rotating 12-key gear, if you want that as well. So for those of you who do like F1 racing, IndyCar, stuff like that, where you have a lot of different settings, fuel modes, all those types of things, ARB adjustments, wing adjustments, all that type of stuff. You could actually set that up and have it on a gear, 12 key gear. So it's pretty cool, the customization that you have here with this wheel. I was really, really blown away by that. And like I said, all of these feel nice and crisp. They have a good click to them. Nothing feels soft or spongy. It all feels quality. So really, really nice. Let's hop into the sim here because I want to show you the last couple of settings that they've got in the software, which really help this wheel out, in my opinion. All right, so we're in iRacing. I've got the IndyCar loaded up here at Sebring. So this is actually a combination that I test wheels on for a couple of reasons. One, I do other cars as well and other tracks and stuff like that, but this is one of my go-tos because Sebring is very bumpy. It's got high speed and low speed corners. It's got the curbing and stuff like that. And also the IndyCar is one of those cars that is fairly rigid when you think about it. It's also, you want your force feedback, at least for me, I want it to be really snappy. That's obviously a very quick reacting car and stuff like that. So this is a car and a track that I test every single time whenever I'm testing anything, whether it's wheels, brakes, anything like that. So we're just using the iRacing setup, nothing special with the setup or anything like that. Now, if I pull up the Cammus software, these settings here for the game effects, so effects intensity, I just got that at 100. The CF filter, Q factor, game friction, and game spring, these come default all at 50%. If you come up here to this question mark and you click on it, it'll actually give you the definition of all of these effects. When we come down to the CF filter, you can see it's a constant force effect, low pass filter frequency. It says be careful to prevent oscillations by not limiting the bandwidth too much. Then we got Q factor, which is the Q factor for constant force low pass filter. So these two kind of work together from what I've tested and seen. And then game friction and game spring, we actually talked about that earlier. That's the intensity of the friction effects and the centering force of the sim itself, of the game effects that you're getting. But there is another one that we have here, which is called assistance. Now, this is new, all right? These are new. We do not have these. Well, we didn't have the CF factor and Q factor neither from before with the DDWB, but we definitely did not have these. These are all, they like assist with the wheel, I guess you would call it. That's what they're under assistance, so I guess that would be the best thing to call it, would be they assist. And you have two here that are obviously really, really interesting, and you're going to feel them with your driving. Now, before we cover that, we do have this, which is temperature threshold. This is really nice. Think of this almost as like thermal throttling on like a CPU, where you can set the temperature to be whatever you want, and it will actually reduce the torque of the motor. It kind of like reduces the torque, the power of the motor if it starts to get too hot. I've left this here. I've checked the temperature after many test sessions and runs. This thing has not gotten hot at all. That little fan that's on there, it's a little blower fan. It actually works really, really well. And then we've got fault codes here, which will actually pop up on the LED screen. And that's for like power supply, voltage being too high or too low. The temperature getting hot, the steering wheel, if it self-tests and it fails, or if the torque is being limited. Okay, so once again, just nice little touches to have on your setup. And like I said before, considering the price, when you compare it to other setups out there, pretty nice that it comes with this stuff. Now, here we have hands-off protection, and we have the end stop strength. That's just kind of the bumper at the end when you get to the end of the wheel. And then high speed stability assist. This is really interesting. Now we're going to come back to this here in just a second. I'm going to turn that off. Hands off protection. What this does, if we look here under their definition, it says it can monitor the situation where the hand is detached from the steering wheel and control the steering wheel to remain in the middle position. So it says it is strongly recommended for beginners to activate this function to prevent panic and injury caused by violent shaking. I will tell you this, using this, I didn't feel this centering me very much, if at all, while I was on track racing. but this is something you might also feel more or less of depending on the other settings you have, like when it comes to the effects, the strength, the friction, all that type of stuff, okay? High speed stability assist. This one was really interesting, and in the beginning, I didn't even know what this was. In fact, when I was driving with the wheel, I didn't know what was going on because the wheel felt it just felt damped to me. It felt, kind of soft, and I didn't understand it because I had turned the dampening off. I turned the friction off. I had got it to where it should be, pretty much raw force feedback, and it didn't feel that way. Well, that was because it had the high speed stability assist on it. What this does is you can set this. You can see you have this XY table here. You can set this to where as the car speeds up, and at default, what it is it's here, 400 kilometers an hour, it's at 100%. So as the car speeds up, the wheel will increase its dampening. And then as you slow down, it decreases it. Now you can only do it in a linear fashion, and it can only increase. So it's not like you can do some kind of logarithmic type of thing where it goes up and then comes down and goes back. You can't do nothing like that. It's strictly linear. But what I found with this is when you get it set to your liking, it almost simulates downforce, which is really, really cool. What I mean by that is if you were in a race car, like a high downforce car, let's talk about the Indy car, right? An F1 car, a GT3 car, something like that. As those cars speed up, the downforce increases, okay? The downforce essentially is, I think it's squared based on the speed. So as you speed up, the car is being pushed down more and more and more by those factors. And you'll notice if you've ever been even in a regular road car and you've gone, 100 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, you'll notice that the car feels more stable if it's a newer car. Obviously, if you're driving a 67, Chevy pickup, it's not going to feel stable, but a newer car, it's going to feel more stable. That's the downforce aspect of the car. Even a road car has a downforce effect to it. Well, with a race car, it's even more so. And this, it gives you that sensation. Now, obviously, that's not what it is, but it gives you that sensation. It's a really, really cool feature. I've never seen this on any other wheel before that I've used. Now, keep in mind, I don't know if SemiCube or the Fanatec, DD has it. I don't know, okay, because I haven't used those in years. The last time I used a SemiCube was like 2 years ago, and I kind of just went through the settings really quick just to kind of check them out. It's not like I was playing with everything. So I don't know if they have anything like this or similar to this, and it's called something else, no clue. But in terms of like Thrustmaster, the old Logitech that it was on years and years ago, or even the Cammus stuff that I use every day, I haven't seen anything like this. So let me show you what this does, because like I said, it's pretty interesting. Now, the best way to see this is watch my steering wheel here. And in fact, let me pull up my Race Labs. Okay, so watch my steering wheel here, and then also pay attention to this F right here, force feedback. You'll see it, that green bar, that's the force feedback. That's the feeling of it, all right? Remember, and right now it's off. Now this will be really interesting because it's really fast and bumpy through this section of the track. You can see how much it's shaking here. Just look right there how much it's moving around and shaking, okay? So that's with no stability assist or anything like that on, all right? I've got the dampening off. I've got the friction off in terms of the analog settings. I've got no centering spring and no inertia. Now, the game effects, I've got those at 50%, but everything else, it's off, all right? Now, if we bring up the Cammus software here, and if I do put it back to where it was, it's just too much dampening for me. So what we're going to do here is we were getting up to about 175, 180 miles per hour, which I believe that'd be, I don't know, somewhere around 300 kilometers maybe. So, and then we're just going to put it at like 40%. Actually, let's go to 35%, okay? All right, so just over those bumps, and we were not going very fast over those bumps. You can feel the difference. See how much more stable the wheel is at speed? Notice how it wasn't moving around. It wasn't jerking around side to side at speed when we were hitting those bumps. My shift there. All right, now we're going to go through this really bumpy and fast part of the track. See here, even when we're hitting those bumps, remember before it was jerking the wheel, barely moving it. So, I know that's just a lap, but you can see just with that lap, the difference that it made in the wheel. And the more you play with it, the better it gets. I found, because I tested this on a bunch of different cars and tracks, you know, played around with the settings and stuff like that. You know, it works good on dirt. It works good on, you know, whether it's sprint cars, midgets, late models, the GT3 cars, the F1 car, the Indy car. Like, it's a really, really cool setting. And one of the things that I said about the DDWB21 was that the force feedback felt great. You know, I liked everything about it, but I would have liked to have seen a few more settings or filters in the force feedback so you could customize it a little bit more, because I felt like there was just a little bit missing from it, right? In terms of being able to kind of change things between cars. With these additions that they've made, to me, the force feedback is great, and this wheelbase feels incredible. I've said before, the best wheelbase I've ever used is a Semi-Cube. The Semi-Cube Pro, I believe is what it was. And I would have to put this literally just like one notch below it. That's how good this feels to me. And I'm blown away at how good it feels, how well it's worked, and above all, the price you can get it for, which is really incredible when you think about it. All right, you guys. So that's going to do it all for this review of the Cammus C12. Now, Cammus just announced this wheel on the 28th of February. This wheel, the way that it's going to work is right now you can pre-order this wheel. What you can do is you can pre-order it. I believe it's $49, essentially kind of like saves your spot to get one. And then they will send out an email when they're going to ship them out. They send it out to you. You pay the remaining $500, and then you get your setup, your wheel, with obviously the base, since they're one and the same. And then it comes with the 2 mounts that you screw to the back of it. Remember, the clamp is separate. If you want to actually clamp it to a desk or something like that, you're going to have to buy that separately, which is $29. But you can get this wheel, like I said, for $549. And when you look at that in comparison of what else is out there in terms of direct drives, it's a really, really good deal in my opinion. You compare this, the C12, to other direct drive bases at its, peak torque. Okay, so the Moza R12, the Fanatec Club Sport DD, the Thrustmaster, what is it, the T248, the Logitech direct drive, right? Those are all, I believe, 12 Newton meter bases. I think the Logitech might be 10 or 11. But if you look at all of those, the Moza is the only one that's at, close to this price range. I think it's $559 or $599. And it doesn't come with the clamp, and it doesn't come with the wheel. That's just the base. The Fanatec is $799 for the Club Sport direct drive for 12 Newton meters. The Thrustmaster is 6 something. The Logitech, I think, is 6 something. And a lot of they're just the base. It's not the wheel. So to be able to get the base and the wheel, yes, the wheel is on the base, right? So if you're wanting to be able to make a bunch of changes and stuff like that, obviously that's something you must consider. But just looking at what you're getting for the price, I got to tell you, this thing has really impressed me. And I was kind of skeptical about this design. And, when I did the testing, the way that I did it is I was obviously on my DDW B21. I got the C5 and this. I tested the C5 first because I wanted to see what that felt like in the beginning and kind of what, the beginning of the technology, right? This type of setup. And then I tried this. And I got to tell you, everything that they could improve, that they needed to improve on the C5, it felt like they have with this. It really feels like that. And like I said in the beginning, full disclosure, they did give this to me to review. I told them that I would gladly promote it if I liked it, and I'm telling you guys, I like it. I haven't had any issues with it. There's been zero problem with it. Everything has worked great. I've definitely put it through its paces on both iRacing and ACC. In terms of other sims, I have not tried it on those, but in the 2 that I've ran, it's felt great. And with the improvements that they've made to their firmware and their software, even feels like the force feedback itself, like the drive itself, actually feels better than my other setup, my 15 Newton meter. I'm really impressed with this. So I got to tell you, if you are in the market for a direct drive, and you're not wanting to break the bank, obviously, these things are expensive regardless, but I definitely consider this, especially now. You can get it, like I said, reserve your spot for $49, then they'll send out the email, pay the other $500, and you can also use my coupon code Tommy and save an additional 5%. But yeah, you guys, the Cammus C12, I definitely would recommend it, and I'm actually really looking forward to using this more. I'm going to continue using it for a while. Just to make sure, long term that everything's good. And if anything negative happens, you guys will be the first to know. So, yeah, overall, I like it, and I'm looking forward to continuing to use it. So, you guys, that's going to do it. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. I do have the review of the C5 that is coming here in the next day or two. I just wanted to get this one out first because they're launching this. If you like this, please hit that like button. Subscribe, all that other good stuff. Also, if you want to join me, I do live stream. I'm only live streaming now pretty much like 1 or 2 days a week because my son's got multiple sports going on. I'm coaching one of his basketball teams, and we've got some big events coming up in our SSR community in our league. And so got a bunch of that stuff going on. So I'm only live streaming about 2 days a week, but I'm still on the track racing, testing, doing all the other stuff. So you can catch me in some of the lobbies. And if you want to join the SSR community, you can head on over to schoolofsimracing.net. It's completely free to join. Just click the button that says join community. I'll get you the links to all of our stuff, our Facebook group, our Discord, our website, email list, and all of it. And like I said, it's completely free to join, and we've got a ton of free stuff on there, and we got a bunch of stuff coming here in the very near future. Hopefully some road racing stuff. We're looking to branch out into that too. More on that in the future. But anyways, you guys, that'll do it. Thank you very much as always for joining me. Until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care.